Hey friends, Cherie here. Welcome back to the channel, Gardening at Home with Cherie. Well, I'm back today because I am spending some time, as I mentioned in a recent video, I'm sorting through my couple bins of bean seeds, figuring out which varieties I'm going to be growing out this year in my 2026 garden. As I mentioned in that last video, I do like to succession plant beans, and often when I succession plant them, I'm planting new varieties of things because I like to be able to try a bunch of different things. This year in my garden, of course, I'm still gonna be growing as many varieties as I possibly can. I just can't help it. I love it. That's a big part of what drives me to garden, is just all the different varieties of crops that I can get to try. It's like growing my own CSA, my own farmer's market in my backyard, and I absolutely love it. And I definitely am not gonna change that because, again, especially since I have such a short season here in zone 4, I mean, I gotta make it as fun as possible. And so seeing all the different crops growing, all the different colors, that just excites me. And of course, trying the new things just to see if I can get them to grow. That's also very exciting. So I have a bunch of different bean varieties. I'll link to my last video where I shared some of the beans that I just got in from a recent seed haul. One of the companies that I buy from had their beans on sale. So I went on and stocked up mostly for my seed vault, though I did pick up some new varieties to try. So right now what I'm doing is I'm just sitting here with the seeds that I already have open, not the ones that are in the seed vault. I've already put aside the ones from the haul that I want to grow out, and I'm going to figure out today the other varieties that I for sure want to grow out in my first round. And then, like I said, I will succession plant them. So I'll probably set up like a container for the second round. And then I will set up a third container for the ones that I want to try to grow in mass, to grow as much as possible for pressure canning, freeze drying, as well as, well, maybe dehydrating some as well. And then I can freeze and blanch them. I can blanch them, freeze them, and have them to enjoy throughout the rest of the year when I can't grow outside. And so I'm going to already sort out the beans, and then I'll be back to share with you my first round of bean seeds that I'll be starting, second round, and then I'll share with you the varieties that I'm going to try to grow a bunch of for the preservation, okay? All right, I'll be back. Let me get to work and I'll be back. Okay, friends, so I got the beans sorted. First, I'm going to just visually share really quickly some save seeds that I have that I'm going to be planting out. So I have 2 good-sized jars of these Iroquois skunk beans. And so I definitely want to grow these out. These I grew as dry beans, and I've cooked a bunch, but then I set some aside to resow, and I haven't regrown my beans from my saved bean seeds yet. So I'll do that this year, test them out, make sure I'm saving them properly. These are some red runner bean seeds. And you can see here, most of the beans that I've tried to grow have been quite prolific. These are the beans that a lot of them, again, I grow as green beans. And then when I save these, I basically just left like the last batch there to grow and to continue to get full size so I could harvest the dried beans. And I got way more than I thought I would get, which is good. And like I said, I cooked them and tasted them a couple years ago. And yeah, these are black turtle beans. I have a lot of those. So I will pull some of all these beans. This is a mixture of beans that I didn't separate. I know that this is a really beautiful bean. Kind of looks like a tiger's eye. I forget the name of these. I still have the original seed packets, so I'll just, you know, I'll just compare them. But these are so pretty. And then these are the black eyed peas that I grow. So, and then there's some other beans in there, which again, like I said, I have taken pictures and videotaped, and I have some already separated in the bags. I just haven't finished separating those. I think these are red kidney beans. And so anyway, I do have the documentation. I just have to look back through my videos and my photos. And then again, I have the seed packets. So I did not pull the seed packets for any of these varieties. Well, that's not true. I did pull some for, I think, one of them, which now that I see how many I have, I might put that back. But I'm gonna be regrowing all those saved seeds, at least one container's worth of all of those. So that's already, I don't know, what are this, like 8, 9 varieties? And then, and most of those are pole beans there. A few of them were bush beans. And so the next category we're gonna look at a bunch of different varieties and kinds of beans, but this next grouping of beans, these are beans that I'm gonna be growing from, you know, my store-bought seed packs. And they're ones where I'm just gonna set up like one container's worth. So they're a part of like, you know, just growing a mixture of things so that I have diversity in our diet as I'm preparing meals and playing around with recipes. And so I'm gonna turn the camera around so we can look at those. It's a bunch of them. Okay, so I kind of grouped them according to the kind of bean, but all of these that we're gonna talk about next are ones where I will probably grow out anywhere from 1 to 2 containers worth during my first round of bean seed sowing. So I mentioned in my seed haul video, I got 2 packs of these fava beans. I'm gonna sow this whole pack pretty much. These don't come with a lot of beans in them because I really do want to see if I can get a good yield on them finally, starting them early, keeping them in an area of the garden that won't get too much heat and sun because they don't like that hot weather. They really want the colder temperatures. And so this is the one fava bean. I do have another variety of fava beans, but I just want to focus on this one. The other one I have like a big pack from Johnny's of, and they're not as expensive, but this is a more expensive variety. Let's see here. Yes, this pack was $5 and it has 15 seeds. So I would like to be able to grow them so I can have enough to cook a meal with, and then also have enough to start saving my own seed. That would be great. So this is the Extra Precoce a Grano Violetto fava bean. And then I got a fresh pack of these Urisan Japanese wing beans. I've gotten like a few to grow, and I haven't gotten like a big yield on these. So these are ones, I think they need more heat. And so I'm probably gonna set these up in the greenhouse and see if I can get, or maybe I'll do 2 containers of these, do some in the greenhouse and some out, and just see if, again, I can get a good yield on them. Again, they're expensive beans, 10 seeds for $5. So it'd be great to be able to grow a lot and then save my own seeds. On the back, it says that it is a prolific bean. So it may just not be suited for my garden, my zone. I'm gonna give it a try one more time before I give up on this bean, because I would like to try it. This looks very cool looking. I have one snake bean variety. This is the Indian giant snake bean. Very long bean. Same thing, I grew this before Not a super high quantity grew for me. I'm going to try to put these in my lower garden that sits in full sun. I grew them in my hillside garden the first time when I tried them. And I'll see, you know, trellising them there and having them really in full sun, if that helps. And so, yeah, that's the Indian giant snake bean. Does it say anything specific here? It's really a gourd. It's really a gourd, not really a bean, but I'm going to be growing it like it's a bean. It's considered a bean for me. Next up, I have these bush beans. I have more bush beans, but again, these are the ones where I'm just going to start a container during my first round of succession sowing. So I always grow the dragon tongue bean. This bush bean variety is a Dutch heirloom, really yummy and actually really pretty. They are yellow purple striped snap beans. And so, yeah, I really like them and they grow well for me. I'm going to try a mung bean. I've done these as sprouts before, but I've never grown them out in my garden. I picked these up during one of the In My Gardener. I think they were like in my mystery box that I got from them. So I'm going to give these a try. So these are ones basically, right, you're growing them to get the beans to then sprout. And so it's just a novelty thing. Like I said, it was in that mystery box that I got on the cheap. And so we'll put some in the container and just see what happens. Again, I buy mung beans in bulk to sprout. And so it's probably not something that I would like continue to do. Next, we have the Midnight Black Turtle Bush Bean. And again, this is one where, this is what these are, these saved ones that I showed you. Or are these, yeah, I'm not sure. I gotta look back. They might be the Trail of Tears. They look the same. But I'm gonna go ahead and grow this pack out again because it was in that mystery pack. And does it say anything interesting about these? It says it's productive and resilient, heirloom quality. Compact bush plants produce abundant pods that mature in about 90 to 100 days. So we will start those early. And then this I shared in that recent haul. These are the Hutterite soup bush beans. This will be the first time that I'm growing these. It says 70 days. And they're supposed to be a fabulous soup bean. And so, yeah, it's a bush variety. So I'm excited about that. I'm going to start that now. And if they grow well, and I really do get the, you know, the shelling beans in 70 days, this could be one that I could try to restart. And we'll see how they grow. I might add these to the ones that I will resow when I do my succession planting. And then I have another pack of black turtle beans. Yeah, that's probably what these are because this looks like the pack. Yeah, I use this pack, so maybe I'll go ahead and use these back up. When I cook, these are delicious cooked up, so I wouldn't mind having more of those. So those are the bush bean varieties. Next, we'll have a look. I'm just gonna start one soybean variety. I do have more varieties of soybeans. Again, they're beautiful to grow. And I had them in an area that was not protected, like when I grew them. And man, something ate them off, like just bit off the whole plants at some point. And so my vegetable gardens are protected now. All these will be grown in a protected area. And so I'm gonna go ahead and start this variety because it's a new variety. I haven't grown this variety before. It's called the Midori Star soybean. And let's see, it says an improved take on Midori Giant. Midori Star offers better seedling, vigor, early emergence, and longer harvest windows. This standout soybean yields large, vibrant green beans with sweet, nutty flavor, ideal for edamame, miso, or tofu. One of the earliest, most reliable varieties around. And so, yeah, I think this might be a good variety for my climate in my garden. So we're gonna give that a try. Next up, I'm gonna do, what do I have? 4 different varieties of long beans. So I'm gonna do the Taiwan yard long. I'm gonna do the Thai Soldier. Actually 2, I pulled 2 packets of those because they were open. And then the Chinese red noodle long bean. And the long beans are just, they're yummy. If we look at the red, Chinese red noodle one, it says, fantastic customer favorite, extremely long pods, turn heads in the garden, deep red, 18-inch pods are delicious and keep most of their color when sauteed. And they do. These are so fun to grow, very productive. And even for me here in zone 4, they grow quite long and quite productively. So, I mean, if you live in a warmer climate, I can imagine you could probably get really fantastic yields. It says it tolerates extreme heat and humidity. And so it's a bean, if you're in a warmer climate, that, you know, won't kind of dry out and get stressed out on you. So I love these. And you can see they're just, they all, you know, they grow the same habit. These get really long. These grow 3 feet long, the Taiwan yard long. So these grow longer than the Chinese red noodle ones and the Thai Soldier ones. The Thai Soldier ones, I mean, look at the color. These are beautiful. Now, I don't think I've ever grown these to harvest the seeds from, but maybe I'll do that this year. This is a bush type long bean. So you don't need a trellis for this one. So say you do patio or container gardening and you don't have a trellis, this could be a long bean variety for you to try. So those are my long beans I'm gonna start. Next, I have 2 varieties of lima beans that I'm gonna do. I have the classic Christmas lima bean. These were also in my little mystery pack from M.I. Gardener. So I'm gonna grow these out. These are just a classic heirloom. It says this 1840s Lima type variety is stunning, and it's red and white speckles. Despite its name, this variety thrives in warm weather. Beans can grow up to the size of a quarter and have a semi-sweet flavor. Now, if I remember correctly, yeah, maturity days is 75 to 100 days. So these are on the longer end of growing. So I'm gonna definitely start these first in the first round. And then this Kurzer's Calico Traveler Lima bean, it says it's a 90-day variety. It says here, plump limas in varying shades of burgundy, purple, and tan brown, intricately speckled. And so again, this is a binding type. And this is definitely a binding type too. So you definitely, for the Christmas lima beans and for this Calico Traveler lima bean, you want to trellis these. Finally, these are varieties that I've grown indoors. I have some dwarf lima beans. I feel like I might have one more variety of dwarf ones. I gotta re-look through my things. So I have this Nautica dwarf bean. It says here 50 to 60 days. Tender and toothsome stringless bush green bean. Plants are reliable, productive, uniform, and most importantly, they produce delicious pods. A beautiful selection with lovely lavender flowers and emerald colored green beans. Allow the beans to dry for deep obsidian black beans. And it's like I said, it's a bush bean. And then I have these dwarf purple beans. They're called the Purple King. And I'm not sure if these are bush or pole. Well, given that they're dwarf, they're probably also bush beans. So they're gonna be good in containers. And then the final group of beans for this first round of beans is going to be cowpeas. And again, it's the first round for like my sampler bean garden. So I'm gonna do these blue goose cowpeas. I love cowpeas. This one here says the 36-inch vines produce purple gray peas with up to 20 in a pod. A rare old Southern heirloom pre-1860, great for table use. This one grows really well here for me, the Purple Hull pink-eyed cowpea. I love these. It says here, a preferred variety for many Southerners, delicious flavor, hulls are purple, an old favorite. I grew these before too, the Red Ripper cowpea. Says here, large running vines yield 12 to 14-inch pods that are loaded with peas. This heirloom has red seeds and great flavor, fresh or dry. Then I have these, I went on and pulled 2 packs of these because I have several new packs. These are the Holstein cowpeas, and it says here 80 days, molted half black and half white, just like a Holstein cow. Small bush plants yield well. And finally, one of my favorites, they grow really well here. I have the Alabama black-eyed peas as well. I'm gonna do those in the second round, but for the first round, I'm gonna start off with the California black-eyed peas. And it says here, originating in Africa, cowpeas are easy to grow and very popular in the South. An old standard variety, vigorous, high-yielding vines. And so, yes, these will be the cowpeas. And actually, I have one more category. I forgot to do the pole beans because I have a lot of those. And so, all of these will be grown in containers. And I should say that, and I have calculated my area where they're going to be growing around the trellising part, especially for these pole beans and any of the other vining beans. And then the bush beans don't have to be up the trellis, and so they can be kind of in front of these. So that's how I plan to grow them, so I can get a lot of these growing at the same time. And so let's go over the pole beans. These are some that I got on Etsy. They're called the Nana Agnes's Blue, aka San Bernardino Blue pole bean. And then these were the same, from the same seller. I think they're called Meerbarb pole beans. So I've never grown either of those before. I'm going to sow these 1,500-year-old cave beans. They are beautiful. And again, all of these are pole beans. And so it says here 95 to 110 days. Ancient southwestern bean variety, viable seeds. Viable seed was originally recovered from an archaeological site, productive and vigorous. I have the rattlesnake pole bean, beautiful. 65-day, flavorful, tender purple streaked pods. Speckled seeds are popular in soups, takes heat and humidity. I have the Hidatsa red Indian beans. These are 85-day North Dakota hardy plump rose red beans for dry use. Vining 3-foot plants. The Iroquois skunk pole beans. And again, I have a bunch of my saved ones that I'm gonna try, but I wanna get a lot of these. I mentioned that last video. This is a variety that I pressure canned, and they're so good. And so if I can grow a lot of these, that would be great. It says here, passed down by the Iroquois for centuries, long vines reach over 6 feet tall and bear an abundance of highly decorative and delicious beans. Uses dry bean or harvest immature for snap beans. Dry beans are splash black and white in endless patterns. And they are beautiful and productive. You can see how many I saved. And again, as I said with a lot of these beans, I eat the green beans for most of the season. And then I just let the last batch go to the dry beans. I have this McCallison 42 pole bean, 70 days, one of the South's most beloved bean varieties. This big heat-loving pole bean bears over a long season. It can be picked young as snap bean or left to mature into an ivory-colored shelling bean. The slightly flattened pods are delicious, fresh or preserved. Those are really pretty. This African bean here is really just to see if I can conquer it. It's so pretty. It says here 50 to 60 days. Beautiful emerald colored bean that originated in Kenya. 5 to 6 inch pods yield kidney shaped, bright emerald green dry beans, drought and heat tolerant. We're gonna do a container of the Good Mother Stallard beans. And these are plump maroon and white beans, are great in soups, creamy texture and hearty flavor. We're gonna do the Papa de Rola beans, 90 to 95 days, semi-pole type, a stunningly beautiful heirloom bean from Portugal with flavor to match, also called dove's breast because of its resemblance to the speckled stout-bodied birds. It is a perfect dry bean for soups and stews. So pretty. We're gonna do the autumn zebra pole bean, a vibrant and colorful striped green bean or dry bean, a Japanese variety that is highly gourmet and refined. And with some of these that are going to be the first time growing them, what I might do with these is set up 2 containers. I can set up one where I'll harvest them as green beans, and I can set up another that I'm just letting grow specifically to harvest the dried beans. That might be what I do because, yeah, that'd be good to try. And then I have the Adventist pole beans. It says here, 85 days, cherished by Seventh-day Adventists in North America for its versatility and nutrition, an early maturing dry bean that can be eaten young as a snap bean. The 3-inch flat green pods contain 4 to 6 honey yellow beans each, semi-bush habit. So I guess not really tall vines. And then the final pole bean, and the final one that's going to be just kind of a part of this bean garden that I'm setting up, is the Italian shrimp bean. It says here, a rare, vibrant, and unique Italian heirloom bean with shrimp-shaped curled pods. These emerald green stringless beans boast a delicate, sweet flavor. Grow this climber on a trellis or teepee for abundant harvest over a long season. And again, just a cool looking bean. So that's gonna be a really nice general variety for me to just be, growing and harvesting throughout the season and eating off of to our delight. And as I said, with a lot of these, especially as I'm like seeing how they grow, how quickly they grow, I will decide if I want to succession sow these or, just set up pots with new varieties once, we're into the season. And so I think what we'll do is we'll talk about the succession sowing in a separate video. Yeah, because this is enough to start with. Okay, so that's a lot of bean varieties. I'm very excited about that first draft. It's a fraction of the varieties that I have though. And so that's why I will do the succession planting, probably with different varieties. I want to try to sample as many as I can. I forgot to share 2 varieties because I just noticed they were over in the second pile and they belonged over here. I am gonna do this one black garbanzo bean. And then I'm also gonna start now this succotash. So those will be also started, just a pot of those. And then, like I said, just like the rest of them, depending on how they're growing, I'll decide if I wanna resow more of those or if I wanna go ahead and try, you know, other varieties. So now what we're gonna do is have a look at the bean varieties that I pulled that I'm going to be sowing multiple containers and or just plugging them into every possible open space I can find in my raised bed gardens with the and containers and planters all throughout the acre. Just trying to grow as many as I can. I might do 1 or 2 green stalks just filled with these different beans because these are the beans that I want to grow as much as I possibly can for preservation so that I can be enjoying these beans. Not necessarily, I mean, I will obviously eat some of them fresh, but mostly these are the ones that I'm trying to grow to pressure can, freeze dry, dehydrate, and or blanch and freeze so that I have my own beans to enjoy throughout the season. Now, I have the space and the canned green beans, it's just, we just don't love them store-bought. We really love the ones that I pressure can myself. And so that is something, if I can figure out the right varieties to grow enough of them so that I have what I want and what I need to pressure can, even if it's just 6 months supply, that's better than nothing. And so this will be the first time that I'm trying to do that. And so I just don't know which varieties are gonna, you know, grow the best here to yield the quantities that I might need. And so this is just this first year, just playing around with all the ones that I've grown before that I know I've grown a lot of, and just to see how far I can push those yields. And so again, because I have the space and I have the time to care for all of these things, I will be trying a lot of varieties, as you'll see. I was gonna do a half dozen, but it's hard for me to down select right now. So this will be the year to kind of play around with that. And like I said, I have the space, I have the containers, I have the soil, I have the willpower and the desire. So I'm gonna go for it and we'll see what happens. So let's turn the camera around and we'll have a look at all these varieties. So these are in no particular order. These are just all the ones that I plan on just trying to grow as many as I possibly can. So I have the red swan bush bean. I have the purple TP bean. I have the purple potted pole bean. And again, I think almost every one of them that I'm gonna be mentioning here, I have grown before. That's why that's why I'm trying to test to see how many I can grow. This is on this packet, it's called the Old Homestead bean. This is the Kentucky Wonder bean, the Blue Lake bush bean. Now, this is called the 274. It's some variety of it that's supposed to be really good for canning. I've grown what I call the regular Blue Lake bush bean quite well. And I didn't pull that pack yet, but I might pull some of those too. This was new for this year, and yeah, we'll give it a try. It's supposed to also be a high yielder and, you know, early. And that's the thing for these. I need things that will start to fruit early if I want to have a chance to grow a lot of them, right? Because my grow zone, my season is so short. If you live in a zone where you have a really long grow season, I mean, you don't have to go quite as all in because you can just keep growing for much longer than I can. I have about 110 days. And so here I have the purple dove bean. This is a 65 to 70 day beautiful bush bean. We're gonna do the golden butter wax bean. This is also a bush bean. I'm just mentioning if it's a bush bean or a binding bean. So if you're watching this, and again, you grow in containers, or you're a patio gardener, you don't have a lot of space, bush beans are great beans for you to try. If you have space for trellising, then the binding beans are great. This is the Landreth stringless bean. It's a bush bean. It says here, very early 1885 heirloom, is stringless and heavy yielding. This one here, it got wet on the thing, blurred the thing, but I'm pretty sure, as the picture shows, this is that, it's like a tricolor bush bean mix, so you get red beans, purple beans, and yellow beans mixed in here. I usually dump a bunch of these into a grow bag and grow them out. And then this is the Celine Filet bush bean. It says here, lovely and lilac. This extra fine filet is an attractive, more gentle shade of purple than other darker pigmented varieties. With all the refinement of green filet, these slender, tasty pods reach 5 inches long and 1/4 inch wide on 20-inch plants. So I'm going to sow a bunch of those. They grew well for me. I have the Landreth stringless pod. I think I have another pack here. Maybe not. Maybe I didn't pull it. Or maybe I talked about it already. So I'm going to grow those out. Looks like I have another pack of the Blue Lake. We talked about that one already. The Kalima bean grows well for me. I grew these in a lot of these I've grown in Greenstalks really well. This is a bush bean. It says here, staff favorite, extremely productive, long, slim, straight green pods are delicious eating fresh or for canning and freezing. I have the Opera bush bean. It says here, this is a dwarf bean. I knew I had another dwarf bean. Okay, this is what I'm gonna try. Maybe I should put these with the, I'm gonna put this over here with the other dwarf bean just so I remember that it's a dwarf bean. Yeah, I'm gonna put this, I'm gonna take that out and put that over with the dwarf bean. And I have 2 packs of those, so I'm gonna put that over there too. I still might grow multiple containers of them, but just for me and my note-taking, I like to have things grouped. This is the Maxibel Filet bush bean. It says here, slender, tender, wonderfully sweet and snappy. These beans are stringless. French filet style beans offer a gourmet delight in every bite. I have the Empress bean. These grew really well for me. It says, our very best snap bean for fresh eating, freezing, or processing. The versatile Empress bean offers incredible flavor. The vigorous plants produce heavy yields of large, straight green, 5 to 6 inch stringless pods. Introduced by Gurney's in 1979 as experimental bean 121, it was later renamed Empress. Bush habit, snap, 55 days. Oh, looks like I accidentally had a pack of the Chinese red noodle beans still over here. This is one that I want to grow a lot of, but again, I want to keep the long beans together. And then I have these here. These are beautiful and delicious beans. Also, the Beurre de Roquencourt. I grew these in the Greenstalk also. One of the oldest yellow wax beans grown in France for 150 years, early and delicious. So this is a great container bean. You know, Greenstalk, grown in your Greenstalk, and they are so pretty. I have the Derby bean. This is also a bush bean, 50 days, a popular and versatile green bean known for robust growth and high yield. Enjoy deep green, straight, tender pods that grow to 7 inches long. Compact plant produces loads of pods. 1990 AAS winner. Bush variety. I have the Sonesta wax bush bean. Beautiful, beautiful. It says here 70 to 80 days, a slender, stringless, buttery yellow wax bean that is reliable and high yielding. This early variety has been praised for disease resistance and productivity, as well as uniform pod distribution. Lovely tender beans average 4 to 6 inches. Again, bush bean. I have 2 packs of my best growing beans so far to date, the Blauhilde bean. We eat these fresh and steamed. They keep their purple flavor, their purple color rather, when they are, lightly steamed. They're so pretty. I have never tried to pressure can them. I did freeze some. They didn't last long. They got pulled out of the freezer and eaten pretty quickly. But yeah, we're gonna see how many I can produce and preserve this year. So spectacular purple pods stay tender even when huge. Flavorful German heirloom, tolerant to mosaic virus. And these are vining beans, not bush beans, but they do really, really well. Most of the beans that I find that do the best for me are the bush beans, as far as yield. But the Blauhilde is one of the vining beans that really outperforms the bush beans. And then the last one I'm going to grow a lot of, mainly because I have this humongo package that I got back in 2022. And I don't even know why I got such a big package. Sometimes what happens on Johnny's is like the smaller packets are sold out. And I want it, and the larger package is really not that much more expensive, and so I get it. This is probably what happened here, or it was an accident. I don't know. But I've been sowing off the same package of seeds since then, and there's still so many seeds in here. So I'm going to sow a lot of these this year. These are the Seychelles pole beans. These are beautiful, delicious French beans. Johnny's, you kind of have to go on the website to learn about the specific varieties. This always just gives you general information. But it is a pole bean, and it is delicious. It's a very tender, like French green bean. Yummy. Okay, friends, so that is it for today. Just wanted to share the different bean varieties and just my thought process on, what I'm growing and why and where. I did want to kind of emphasize things that I know from my own experience have grown well in containers, because I know a lot of people, you don't have a full acre or more to grow on. And so you need to grow things in tighter, smaller spaces and containers. And these are bush beans that I personally grown here in Zone 4 that have produced well. And so, yeah, maybe this was helpful if you're in a similar zone to me, or if you want to try things in containers, you at least have an idea of some things that might work well. I don't know if I'm going to, have time to record sowing of these beans. Maybe I'll, when I do some harvest videos, I'll put in some clips or something. Because as you see, I have a lot of work. 2026 garden season is going to be a lot of work for me. But I'm super excited about my plans and trying to work hard to achieve my goals this year. So I thank you for watching. I'll see you back here again soon with the next crop that I'm going to sort through and figure out what I'm going to grow, okay? Take good care. Happy growing. Bye.